Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey everybody, welcome to California Haunts Radio. It is Friday night with Medium Nancy Matz. It's kind of like our hangout Friday night with Medium Nancy Matz. Anyway, welcome everybody. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We're 45 strong up and down the state. So if you do need some help with paranormal or you think you have something paranormal going on, contact me on Facebook. You can find me everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, you name it, I'm there. And we can get some investigation stuff going for you. That being said, welcome tonight. Friday night marks our night with Nancy. Like I said, we're going to be talking about anxiety. Lots of anxiety going on since the election. We don't talk politics here, but I mean, people are stressed out right now. So it's kind of like a nice thing to talk about and have the discussion. Just a quick update. I am doing tarot card reads on TikTok every evening at 7 p.m. Pacific. You can find it under California Haunts over there if you would like a 3-card tarot read. They're free at the moment, past, present, and future. So if you're interested in that, come on over to TikTok. Again, it's under California Haunts. We are going to be starting regular shows starting next Friday. Next weekend is piled up. We've got Nancy Matz coming on with us next Friday. We got author Mitzi Zarito on Saturday. And we, of course, we have our regular book read scheduled for Monday. And then we're going to have for Sunday. And then we're going to have the whole week to do other guests. So we're starting to roll with that. I told you guys to be aware of it. And here we are. I see my sign looks weird in the back. Come looks strange, doesn't it? It looks like a CDNE. I have to fix that. But anyway, we're going to be shifting into the holidays as well. Sunday, I'll be reading from Frankenstein. And it looks like we may be coming to the end of that. I could be wrong, but though the way the book's written, it looks like we're coming to a close on that. So that may be the last weekend for something scary, or it could be the following weekend. We'll see. And then we're going to be shifting into Christmas and holidays. And I've got a couple cool books that I've been reading over the last few years with holiday stuff in there and scary ghost stories and things like that. So we're going to be shifting into that for the holidays. Anyway, today is a great day. This is my 15th day working straight. Not so much for you guys, but TikTok. I've gone 15 straight days. Okay, today, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep it around and keep it rolling. And I'm starting to really space my time out a lot more. So I'll be able to organize this more and work on other things. If you're a member of my meetup, there will be a letter coming out tonight, late tonight, after midnight. Explaining things. I'm going to start charging $2 per person membership over there because Meetup has raised their prices, and I'm trying to figure a way to stay over on Meetup since there's almost 1,500 of you over there. So if we're not able to raise the funds, then I'm going to have to leave Meetup, and I'll be moving the Meetup over to Facebook. Okay, so lots of changes going on. I'm not the only paranormal group doing this. There's a couple other paranormal groups that have been around for a little longer than I have on Meetup. They're also moving. So, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Okay, let's get Nancy in here and let's talk about anxiety, shall we? Okay. I can't hear you. Your audio's down. No audio. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Can't hear you. Hang on, guys. We're having some audio issues here. I think Nancy has to reset her stuff. Reset. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you. Let me see what I can do here. Make sure she's on. She should be on. Audio. Yeah. try this for a second. Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, go ahead and go off and come back in. Go off and come back in.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It was a um, microphone emblem here that when you went on the air, you muted me. I need to unmute.
I
So
didn't
now,
mute you. I guess it did it automatically. We're still learning, guys. We're still learning how all the buttons push here. It's a learning curve.
yeah.
So how are you
Uh,
doing?
well, it was cold. I had to put a sweater on tonight, and I realized I'd had the heater on, so we're all kind of cozy in here. So
Yeah.
anyway, nice to see everybody. Well, I can't see. You can see me. Hello, everybody. It's finally winter, and I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit. I'm not disliking it, other than it caught me off guard. And I remember thinking, I told my husband, "Are we now into winter finally?" And then I said, "Weren't we just having 100-degree weather, 90-degree weather a month ago?" And I think that's the problem. We were so warm for so long,
Yeah.
and that's that. I got some shadows going on here. Okay,
You
so
look good.
last week.
You look good on my end. Really quick, really quick. For you guys that are actually coming into the room, because I know this is a different time, so everybody's got to get
Mhm,
adapted to it. We have to do this at 5:30 p.m. Pacific because I'm on TikTok at 7 p.m. Pacific, so I need like a half hour in between to get my act together to get over
mhm,
there.
mhm.
So for those of you coming in, if you happen to come in, I do have the chat room open. So you guys over on YouTube, which we're not anywhere else, you can chat amongst yourselves on in the YouTube chat room, and I will see it. So okay, go ahead, Nancy.
Okay.
I'll shut up now.
I am. So last week, as with all the other political talking heads on YouTube, politics is one area I just wasn't interested in. Not interested, but spending time because the gals that, and gentlemen, tarot readers, and what are you getting into, Shar? I'm hearing
My
paper.
cherries. I know. I should have done this when I started. I'm just getting a handful of cherries. Okay, it's good. My
Okay,
red
all
cherries.
right.
Yes. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Can I start? Okay, so what we want to talk about tonight is anxiety, and it started last week. The week before, I had been asked many, many times what was going to happen. And as with the other intuitives, I wanted to clarify because there's a lot of people angry at the intuitives and the tarot readers with their misguidance of who was going to win the election. And
Hmm.
I've been at this for 33 years, and and it made me doubt also. And I thought, I've been busy for 33 years. I must be doing something right. The predictions I do, I wouldn't be busy. So a lot of them are 25, 30 years. 20, let's see here, 27 years. Millie said 27 years. I'm going to put it there. And 30 years for a gentleman I talk to frequently. I mean, years and years. And uh, and so I based thinking, well, if I've been doing this, they've been doing this a long time also, and they've been right enough, or they wouldn't have 50, 60, 70. One lady from Australia has 157,000, if I remember right, 157,000 subscribers. And correct me, I just don't remember off the top of my head because I don't pay that close attention. And everybody was like a gasp. And when I realized what I had been picking up, I had been picking up a landslide. I had been picking up changes of this.
Hmm.
Everything was changing. Some state, the two houses would change also. And I picked for the energy. And I think I was at a place where I thought that one candidate maybe wouldn't be picked because of the legal aspects of their history. And the other one had a lot of qualifications. So naturally, what was I going to think? Well, that's the way everybody thought. And so when you're kind of got the chair knocked out from underneath you with us, that's where the problem is. We don't know what the future holds. Things could change next week. But I was hit. Oh my God, Nancy, tell us what you pick up because as with, but I'm not in there doing the politics. And I have to explain that when I do my readings, all I care about is the name people are called, not the
Hmm.
birth name always, but a nickname. If you go and you give me Joe, my cat's name Joe, someone used Joe, but you add the last name, then I hear the old last name. And when I found that spirit people, because I to spirits a lot, they don't hear. the last name, they only want to look at the first name. So it's really hard.
Mhm.
So for me to get into politics on the air, I'd have to learn everybody's name in Congress. I'm not going to spend the time. So this is where I put my focus, even though they're very successful, make a lot of money. But the anxiety that I was feeling, and I'm very empathic, everybody knows that. And I was having terrible time shielding myself, grounding myself, because not only were the people that knew me know me, but I have clients everywhere,
Mhm.
overseas, and they also thinking about me. And so when you think of somebody, if I put my mind to Shar, she can pick it up because she's very intuitive. Not that I want to, nor do I do that, because why should I, right? So, but if you know a lot of people, they're also looking at you, and you're getting hit from everywhere. So the intuitives are also suffering. So I want to say things like, let's talk about anxiety. So I talked for 15 minutes. I gave the platform to Shar because she has a lot of things going on. And I wrote a lot down. I'm talking, oh, hopefully not too fast. I'll slow down because we do have an hour, but I want to give Shara as much time as possible to get ready for the show tonight. Um, and I want to explain the politics and how we might have misinterpreted. The other thing is there's a lot of people for doing projections. And over these 33 years I've been doing this, May 4th, 1990, I have been told I'm pretty good with time. In fact, I told Shark something, and it's happening now, and it was within a couple of weeks. One time I told her something, and she says, "Well, it's already happened. It's happened just now." Remember, Shark's giving you
Yeah.
statements, families and stuff. So a lot of times I can be right on, or I can be a whole year off or a whole month off. And what happens is time to me, as in Doctor Who, is wibbly wobbly type of thing in front of us, but I see it as a slinky. Now, a slinky, remember the thing that goes down the stairs? Okay, hold it in your hand. Move away from that microphone, sweetie. Just a little bit so I'm not here. Thank you. So slinky
Sorry.
is one of those circular things, and you hold it in your hand, and you can do it like this, okay? And
Mhm.
so it goes down the stairs. If you hold it in front of you, but sideways, you'll see the circle like this. And wherever March is, that slinky goes around. It could be March on the other side. And I gave some readings 20, 25, 30 years in the future. And in 2000, I had two little girls come visit me, and they were working and they were saving the money, a couple. And I said, at your time of retirement, you're going to live so and so in Norfolk, Virginia, in a log cabin on the northeast side. And it just happens to be, I described the cabin that Grandpa was going to let her inherit later in life. Well, 25 years has passed, see? And I went that far out because she said, I plan to retire in about 35 years. So I saw the cabin they're going to return in. How do we go like that? It's hard to know. But all the intuitives would not have seen some of these things happen because the anxiety of the actions also hurt us because of they ever been hitting us with it. So I've got to
Hey,
get over that. So, go ahead.
quick comment. I did a tarot reading a couple of months ago for somebody who asked me about a particular medication. Would she get approved? And I said, yeah, I see it happening in November. Get an email today. And if you're out there, person, I'm not mentioning your name. I'm just using this as an example for this talk that
You did
Nancy and I
say
are having.
you said her
And
name.
no, I didn't say her name.
Oh, I thought you said Tristan.
No, I just said if you're out there, I'm not using your name.
Oh,
So I get an email today that says, "Oh, you said that I was going to get this okayed in November, but it's going to happen in. My doctor just told me it's going to happen in January. That I'll be getting it in January." I said, "Yeah, but think about this now. I said you were gonna, you were gonna get the okay in November. Your doctor has okayed it. He
she
okayed
didn't
it
do
in
that.
November.
She
Okay,
heard what you
it's going to,
wanted to hear.
yeah, it's going to come through in January. So I was correct on that whole thing, and that's like Nancy says. People sometimes take things too literally on what you're saying. They don't stop to think about, okay, yeah, this could be in flux. And I've been telling people for days now that predictions and everything, even with the tarot cards, everything's in flux right now. So,
It
go ahead.
flux meaning when we think of I'm spending way too much time on this. The gravity waves of
Yeah.
the universe are waves that going through time and space.
Hmm.
Our energy also goes in ripples determined on how anxiety ridden we are. So when someone calls, like I talk to you and they're calling, they're screaming, yelling, crying, and carrying on, I says, you better take some breaths. You can't
Mhm.
you can't think, you can't talk to me unless you take 3 deep breaths. And I tell everybody you can have you need to take a breath because we're going to take one breath at a time, one step at a time. And when you talk to people like this, if your energy is going like a firecracker rippling all around you, it's hard to hold it down. So with all that's going on, and I was hoping I explained it, and hopefully I didn't talk too fast. We are anxiety ridden. And so it's been noted to me, because I'm more or less a very peaceful, quieter person. Oh my God, the anxiety that people are feeling. And so last week I addressed that, spent a few more minutes than I want. Um, so I may repeat myself just a little bit. I don't want to repeat the whole thing because I'd like you to go to the first part.
Mhm.
So anxiety is unknown future, what event can directly affect our person or situation. And that's more or less what everybody's anxiety is about. Fear of the unknown. Nobody really knows the future until it starts playing out. Yeah, we can get it. And another example would be is people want long range from families. And if I pick a young couple not living in California to move away and then they get divorced, and that happens 15 years, then guess what? They're calling back. How did you know? I guess if we could package it and give it to you for a nickel, I would do that. Why is it only I and a half dozen of people in my neighborhood and state can do this? I don't have answers. I mean, there's a lot of us, but we all have our particularities, right? So, with being very humble, it's very difficult to carry the stress of always being right. And after all these years, um, the stress of being right is kind of like at this point in my life, yeah, I'll take the stuff no one else wants because it's
Mhm.
interesting. And
Mhm.
at some time in the future, when your life calms down, then time goes by quicker because there's nothing holding me up from bumping into events. And that's why
Mhm.
things can be seen so far in the future. And those people that I can go slip and slip through time, I call their lives, as my little friend in Florida, quiet lives. They do routine, they stay with it for 5, 10, 15 years. Well, there's nothing for me to hold on to. So that way, I'll slip through time. Okay, so the anxiety of the unknown, and like I said, the only the divine that sets up the domino effect for all of us is only one with the last answer. So I want to go to what I've written up tonight, and I have quite a bit. I can always go back. Um, Anxiety is fear, and not knowing will be a future event. So, as in, took a trip to Boston to see where my son's daughter's going to go college. I had no idea it would be as complex as I thought. So when I was packing, I had anxiety for what shoes to take. Guess what? I took the wrong pair of shoes. My anxiety of realizing that when I got there, I went, oh fudge, I had the wrong pair of shoes on. So was anxiety, I had anxiety, which is, we all have anxiety. It's hard to plan when you don't know what's going to happen. You think you do. So we all have it. And depression is looking back on your life and reevaluating regrets, out of control, or hurtful actions in the past. So if you got hurt in the past, you lost a job in the past, you made change you didn't think about, that's depression. And that can seep into us and project out to the future called anxiety. And it can be pretty crippling at times. I have a lot of clients that call me up. So some of the symptoms are, and I, everybody raise your hand. None of us alive, unless you're a monk or a Catholic priest. I mean, a nun or somebody that lives in that sort of environment. Do they have anxiety? Well, probably. Everybody has to. Everybody suffers from it. Restlessness. Hmm. Type A personality here, ADHD. It's very busy. Does that mean I have anxiety or not necessarily? This is increased heart rate. When you don't know the future, you try to control it. Your heart rate goes up. Nervousness or shaking, difficulty concentrating, feeling tired, difficulty sleeping, uncontrollable worry. The last entry was uncontrollable worry. That is what I'm seeing now. Sleeplessness. I have two or three, four people calling me every day talking about it, and they talk about restlessness, sleepiness. And a couple that I didn't see here is there's a lot of the anxiety, but a lot of anger. There's a lot of uh, I'm out of control of my life. What's the deal? I'm angry, 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 and that's pretty dominant. Uh, I'm not going to say everyone has been angry, but that level of frustration that pushes people to anger. So when you're driving on the freeway and you see road rage, that's someone who's had anxiety, frustration to anger. And that's pretty tough. When you say, well, anger, people can get mad at somebody, but there's always a trigger to get them to that point. Someone doesn't start out angry. There's buttons and pushes on their body and their energy field that drives them to that. So they build up anxiety. When's that going to happen again to me? When's someone going to pick on me again? When's the boss going to not recognize my efforts again? When I'm not going to have enough money? That's anxiety, worrying about the future. Then you get in the car and you're already mad. See what I'm saying? That takes one more person to tip that over. So a lot of times it is anxiety that's creating what you're seeing on TV with guns, with cars, and everything else. So our nation, and I'm just going to say it, half our nation went one way, half the other. So the other side's happy. And if we had, if the Democrats had come out, uh, they would be. So no one's ever going to win. You almost need a third choice, right? Um, so what I'm going to talk about is choices and more suggestions. And no, I don't want to make it boring. I try to make it as interesting as possible, but none of us escape life without him going through anxiety. And a couple of these are kind of fun. So I hope you stay and just listen to the rest of this. Many people have this and they ask family and friends, what are we going to do? Everybody says, well, we'll take a glass of wine and go to bed. Well, I don't drink wine. Do I go to bed easily? No, I stay up later than I should. I find that nighttime is, and I know Char would understand this, all intuitives, it's peaceful for me. No, I don't want to talk on the phone at 11 o'clock at night. Don't get that wrong. But the neighborhood is quiet and it's kind of nice. I enjoy the nighttime, but when I get up early, it's kind of fun to be up fresh in the morning. But that's a hustle bustle of life, and I can feel that. That's the price to somebody like myself. Been this way all my life, but I kind of started this in 1990. If you don't want my bio, I'm not going to bore people who already know me. Go to my bio, nancymatzpsychic.com, and I have so much written up there, so enjoy that. Seeking a doctor's help or a therapist. A lot of times, and I have been to the doctor recently. I had some skin cancer things. You have things with dental, and they can spend 5 minutes with you. I'm lucky to get 7 or 8 minutes with the doctor. It's almost like railroad cars. The doctor's standing there, and all these railroad cars go blah, 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 like this. So a lot of times we don't feel like we're listened to. We don't feel like we have the attention. We don't feel like if they prescribe something, do they really know what's good for us? I'm on the theory that unless, like blood pressure medicine, I have to take that, thyroid, because I don't have a thyroid, we are locked into things that keep our body balanced. But I'm not an advocate for things that affect our psyche because you really don't know if that's really going to help. A lot of times there's side effects. Um, and so sometimes if you have to think about hot water, hot tea, hot milk, whatever, and the idea is that you're drinking it, it's not always, it's that you have to sit down, you have to hold the cup, you have to look at the whatever you're drinking, and you have to take a sip. That is the benefit, is to turn that noise off. And so, and the other thing I want to speak to is we, uh, I'm going to try to give you some ideas here of what to do. And the doctor, I'm not putting doctors down, but society, there's so much turnover. My little doctor is pregnant, so she's going to be gone here pretty soon. And then I shuffled over to another doctor for 3, 4, 5 months while she's gone. There's always anxiety. Who's going to listen to me? And luckily, I'm lucky enough not to have issues like this. Uh, but at the moment, I think I do. So there is a difference between what we call the anxiety versus a panic attack. I have a friend whose ex-husband was killed, and he had divorced her, married somebody else. He was leaving her to go back to her, go back, leave the second wife, go back to the first wife. And she what called me up. It was so exciting because he realized he made a mistake. Wow, how many times do you hear that, ladies? Huh? And so 2 weeks later, within 1 to 2 weeks, he was on a car accident, got killed. Wow, right? And so even though it was private property and all in all, every time she got in the car, if she only went a couple blocks, she was okay. If she got on the freeway or a major thoroughfare, anxiety attack to the point where she couldn't breathe. Lightheadedness. I don't know all the, see, like panic attacks usually come on suddenly, unexpectedly, characterized by racing heart, quick and shallow breaths, chest pain, dizziness, and feelings of dread or doom. And that is dread and doom is because he was killed. And I lined it up with this was private property somewhere else. And so that somewhere else she lined up as with freeway unknown, crippling. Now she had to go to the doctor. She had to get something to mellow her so she could drive. In today's world, when you live in the country, you have to be able to drive. That little bit of information came from a website. I want to give credit. Verywellhealth.com. Um, and so that was the only site I referenced a couple of times. The rest of this is because I've just been spending a lot of years doing this. Um, and so if you're assigned some medicine, I always encourage people, say with me, start with the smallest dose possible. Even the blood pressure, I'm on very, like 10, 50% dead blood pressure. They assigned me 25 and I was crashing on the floor. And so I said, can we start out a little smaller, little doses? So they won't be against that, but you have to think of saying, doctor, I'm worshiping you. Please give me some medicine for this panic attack or anxiety. I can't live. Make sure that they start out at what we call just a little shorter than what they expect. I don't think I'll get in trouble by mentioning that, only because you never know when, like my blood pressure medicine, they gave me 25. I couldn't even function. Please, it was terrible. I was almost joking, like Nancy, what are you sitting down for all the time? My husband couldn't believe it. Um, Okay, so this is the process of looking at everything. So I have had clients with depression call me up. And when I step into somebody, I try to identify what it is. When we have depression, meaning in the past, it filtrates into our living moments right now. And then as we do in our life, we have anxiety. And what I trying to point out something here, depression is not always in this moment, in this window where we're living, a month, 2 months, 6 months. And so I'm going to address that's what's happening. But a lot of times your depression is from 10, 50, 20 years in the past. I have found a lot of emotional damage from our youth and then 20s because we're so impressionable, we're growing, creating, becoming, and if something goes wrong, your boyfriend, girlfriend breaks up with you and it's terrible, or you lose a job and everyone humiliates you, or whatever, that could become invisible. And as you're adult living life, and those things that could surface, like someone making fun of you at work, and you're not ready for it, um, your sensitive soul, and something hurts you, you're not necessarily reacting to a situation that day. You're reacting to something as a child or a teenager in school. And when I was in high school, I don't know if they do that now, but we had what we call a communal shower. Everybody was naked. And so you go in there with this itty bitty towel. Well, I remember a lot of people getting teased and humiliated girls. It's terrible. Imagine happening to the boys' gym. Um, I never had that experience, but there was a lot of girls that had it. Can you imagine them getting into a relationship in the 20s and 30s where they're going to have a man in life, a partner, and they have to be and go to that state of being naked and they can't do it. And that has been told, that has brought that up. Now, let's back up and let's say that we're talking to politics. And when people are caught off guard, startled, scared in the past, betrayed, no, all those negative statements. Something like this takes us off guard, and we can't recuperate because we don't know where to put our feet. We're not grounded. We don't know how to carry on because it's happened before. And please, I'm just making general statements, okay? So I've asked clients and try to appeal to you right now, and I know it's what you're going to say, but if you're suffering, also listen to what I say because these are steps. Some of them are appealing, some won't be appealing. And I've asked clients when they get ready to present themselves to the world, I want to start dating, and I say to them, who are you as a person? You're wanting a partner to come in your life. You want them to be and have for you and take care of you. If it's a woman, if it's a man, they want them to be a certain way also. Well, those aspects of, I had a lady come to me, she was darling. I think she's 45, 50 years old. I'm 50, 55. I'm going to start dating. This is going to be wonderful. And she was just really attractive lady. I thought, wow, why did that husband divorce her? It's like, what, and I says, oh, that's wonderful. What can you do to offer to your new man? And she says, I'm very good looking. And, that was obvious. I can cook very well. I took classes. I'm a chef. I do Italian. It was I was like, wow, that's fun. That's fun. And she says, I'm great in bed. I go, what can I say? Great. Just don't give me details. I don't want details. And I says, well, what's your hobby? She says, I clean house really good. Okay. And to keep talking. And she shook it. She says, what else is there? And I go, okay. So for the rest of your life, the only way you're going to entertain and keep your man interested in you is cooking because good looks and the ability to have sex will go away. And she never thought of it that way. She said, I'm really good in the kitchen. And I says, house cleaning don't matter because at some point in the future, people don't care about that either, or not as much. Ask me. I used to clean walls and ceilings when I was married. People come over, they go, oh my God, Nancy. Yeah, I like a clean house. It was embarrassing. People, no, don't come over to my house. And I go, well, what's wrong with that? Well, that was the only place in my troubled marriage where I had power control. And I was a long distance runner. We had 4-H, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever, and we rode horses. We both had jobs. Were we not busy with life? Absolutely. Dune Buggy Club, Northern California Dune Buggy Association, our group created that. And we did a lot, but it was troubled. So every spare moment I had, I was cleaning the house. By the way, I am divorced in that one. I'm married 21 years to my second husband. So those kind of troubles can be invisible that surface in this environment. So when there's a problem, I want you to take three breaths and I want you to be calm, drink something hot or cold or whatever, but take the time to drink it. Pencil and paper in hand. If it's possible, when you think about what's bothering you, I want the first words that come into your mind. You might be surprised. You might be 7, you might be 12 years old. Where did this depression, anxiety come from that's creating you to feel like you're out of control? Um, I'll be honest here. I had stage 3.5. I was 6 months from stage 4 cancer at 39, breast cancer. I was really ill. I was sicker than I thought it was. So for me, it's medical. And I get anxiety ridden if I think something's going to be wrong with medical. And it goes back to when I was 39, which goes back to my parents being Christian scientists. And I was a 5 pounder. And I was sick for 7 years before I had my tonsils out. My life has been geared around having medical approved and be able to afford medical. So when they talk about reducing medical, that is my anxiety, and I'll own it. It's okay. I'm alive. I'm 76 years old. I see myself writing a whole bunch more books, so I'm get to stay. It doesn't mean my life isn't turbulent with medical. That is my anxiety. And and at some point you have to write down when that began. Now, does that help you? It's amazing how calm it is when you realize it and you have to go back and forgive and accept what has been the problem. And you'd be surprised how that helps. Just writing down. If it brings anxiety to mention a neighbor that stole your cat or hurt you in some way or whatever, you have to forgive them to go on. I didn't say it was easy. I've had to forgive a lot. But at some point, you have to grow to a place of accepting you picked this life for this experience. Now write it down and get over it. Hello, don't tell me that. We have a lot of people suffering. I hear them all the time. And if my clients are listening, they go, yeah, Nancy. Yeah. So this is called, I asked them to write in the midst of depression, anxiety, write down what they think is the issue. Money or work, love life, etc. This is called identify and learn to manage your triggers. That's what we call this. I don't know if triggers is what therapists use. That's my word. Okay. We need to look at our, so hold on. Why did I put this in here? Oh, some of the things that could trigger anxiety or trigger how to control and be better. So you'd be surprised some of the things that came up. Okay. So right now we're in the midst of a friend called me up and she says, I was at TJ Maxx and I had Christmas decorations up. Okay, so those in Roseville, Cit- I don't know where TJ Maxx is, but they have
Mhm.
Christmas decorations up. And she says, I don't want, wow, she got, and I said, wait a minute. Well, she didn't have a good Christmas time when she was growing up. So when she sees all the decorations, she flashes back. Now, Shar and I talk, and it's up to Shar to tell you. Now she's laughing, but I have talked to her for 20, oh my God, 20 years, right?
Mhm.
25 years, 20. Um, Christmas season for her is a big, wow, calm me down. So if I said to you that I've read a lot, and it's been known, therapists talk about this, that when you put your Christmas tree ornaments up sooner, the longer you keep them up, the happier you are. I went, okay, I got two Christmas trees. I'm going to put them up. I'm going to cry here. Uh, and it's amazing Christmas music. So if that is something that calms you down, I really encourage it. Okay. And some of the things I thought of, if it's possible for you to do some of these things in the midst of the turmoil we're going through, this is what I'm addressing. And I used to be an exercise nut, crazy. I got gym equipment all over the house. But when you're emotionally damaged, you get very tired. You don't sleep at night, and it's really hard. So, some of the things I remember that website I just mentioned earlier is called Very Well Health. I did see something there, but I said to myself, I don't know if I told you to go outside and exercise or get some gym equipment out, most people go, oh, heck no, I'm too tired. I don't like to. But they've said that there's endorphins that are created and generated by you doing something for you physically. And Shara was telling me she's out there pulling weeds and she felt great. You know, you could be the poopers and out there even pulling the dang weeds. It pulls you up because you see what it is a sense of accomplishment. Um,
Mhm.
in my world, uh, I live on the edge. I like the stress of life. I like to see results. So people like myself, you pay me. I won't let you be right. You have to be right at what you do because I'm going to pay you to give me advice. Well, that in some ways, some intuitives, you have to learn to better like that or get out of the business because you're going to be put on the spot. So in some ways, exercising, being outdoors, working, uh, is actually endorphin exercise. It creates endorphins, which pulls us out of depression. Doesn't help
Mhm.
to think that maybe you're not thinking about these problems, but when you exercise, you're supposed to be thinking about what you're doing. And that's the idea. The other thing that was brought up is meditation. There's some theories going around that meditation, not necessarily, and some of you might have seen this article just recently, that meditation, though it relaxes you, it in some ways is all not as beneficial. And the reason is we have a hard time shutting our mind off. You may meditate and sit and go, whatever you do. I'd like to, well, the problem is that I was never good at meditating because my mind does work quick. And all I
Mhm.
could think about was my buns getting sore. So if you have other kinds of meditations, a treadmill, exercise, whatever, then why don't you at the same time listen to audio tapes, your phone? I have iPod kind of things, is to distract your thinking process. because they're not positive. It's as good for you. And I thought I was kind of strange. I thought that's kind of strange. uh, some things I like doing. I'm going to have a lot of things here, so you may have to go back and re-listen to this. Is one of the things I did when I was going through some really troubled times, breaking up with somebody and some health issues. I watched comedy. Now, my generation, uh, there were so many good comics. Laugh-In, of course, a lot of good shows. But prior in the earlier years, the Lauren Hardy, Bob Hope stuff. the- My God, Carol about Carol Burnett. Are you kidding me? I bought her whole series, like $90 or something, because there's nothing funny than Tim Conway throwing everybody off, and it will throw your anxiety off also. Comedy is the best way, and there's so many great comedians out there. I just don't take the time to watch something. I'd like it on tape or somewhere else because I want to be able to do it when I want to. So deep breathing, absolutely, if you can shut your mind off. The grounding techniques, there's so many, you could Google it, but I like the idea of going outside, put my feet in the dirt. Can't do it in the wintertime. Can't do that. But you can do a visualization if you want to sit and try meditate, is putting your feet into the dirt, pretending, and then round yourself by seeing your feet become roots of a tree. That works for me. Now, my sister, who lives in Seattle, she's an ocean person. So when she's having issues, she goes to the beach where I'm long distance runner and off. We had horse races off road, and I was never. But you put me around an oak tree, a pine tree, and I'm real happy. So different personality types. Char, which are you? You ocean or a mountain
I'm
person?
Ocean.
Ocean. That's
Ocean,
interesting
yeah.
because I only know you as Montague. We lived up the same area
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
And always keep in mind that you have to learn how to breathe. And there's techniques. I've heard of people who need to learn to sing so they can breathe better. Um, we have skunks in our neighborhood, and the room is filled up with skunks in here. So while I'm talking to you, I'm not breathing into smell. I'm breathing in for air, and you can't tell that I'm doing that. So you have to learn how to breathe in, and there's different ways of breathing, whether your stomach or your chest, and it is a matter of paying attention and control, and that is a distraction also. Um, one thing I had a client mention this to me, um, and I told you earlier how this lady liked to cook, and that was their form of meditation. Yes, I will fix these glasses. The little rubber things came off. Someone's thinking about that. Is people talk about the doctors say, well, if you're anxiety ridden, there's a lot of food you shouldn't be eating, and there's a lot of food you should be eating to make it better. If I spend more than 10 minutes in the chart, I talk about diets, but menus, I I did that 21 years, 3 times a day, worried about people eating all the time, making trips and all. Kind of got burned out. So there's a lot of women who don't do that. I now having to learn how to cook again, and it's really hard. Yeah, it's hard. So if someone said, when you're under stress and anxiety, you need to drop out the salt. You need to do this. You can't do that. Excuse me. When we're anxiety ridden, give me a piece of chocolate cake. Hello, how many girls? How many have decided they want to do it? Or drink? I don't drink and I don't eat pastries, only because of my health. But at the same time, doesn't mean I don't miss it, right? Ashar, right? That's
Right,
right.
right, right,
Just ask us.
right,
Just ask us.
right.
Right. Yeah, I've had some art. So there have been proven articles outlining the benefits of outdoors, and I spoke of that. Find some way to increase the minutes. So if I said to you, walk down to the street, get your mail, check it 2 or 3 times a day if you have to. It's an excuse to get outside to breathe air, not in your house, but outside. If you work, that's a little different. You may have to go. When I worked 24 years Pacific Bell, and most of the time it was indoors. Uh, at the last 7 years, I had a job as the manager. I went from supervisor to HR. Then I had another job as supervisor outside field offices, and I had 5 satellite offices, and I was really happy. And I look back and I realized why. I wasn't in a building. I was in the vehicle driving. So
Mhm.
if you it's possible to get outside, and remember, if you're working, you can't always do this, is take a drive, walk down the street, do something, get some outdoor air. Seems to have a lot of benefit. Now, if you have a job, I would certainly go outside and just walk around the building. I remember doing that a few times. The years I was indoors, I just remember the last 7, as probably the last 5 is when I had that job. Before that, I was in HR and I handled layoffs and grievances and soft sales. What was it? Yeah, I mean, let's make it hard, right? So I got the other job. I was really happy. I've never done this 33 years, so add that up, everybody, right? The other thing is, I had a lady. She talked to me about her. In fact, it's happened a few times where people love potted plants. So her life was based on being able to take care of my plants, their plants. My husband likes plants, where I can't think about making sure I don't kill them by not watering them. That's on their mind. They do that. I'd rather type a book or read articles. This is how I relax. So we all have our ways. So just having a yard, and or if you don't have a yard and have a balcony, if you have a plant or two and you want to keep it alive and nurture it, that's also a way of distracting and deferring the anxiety that you're feeling. Okay,
Mhm.
doesn't mean you take the plant by the roots and throw it in people's yards. I just had someone think, well, I'm angry, so I'm going to just coping skills, and here's more and more ideas. Some of it's from that page. Hobbies, we just spoke about someone having plants, pots, exercising, bicycling, seeking out friends, and environment recommended. Let's see, unfinished hobbies. Okay, I wrote too much there. Uh, a lot of times people will ask me, oh, I'm so lonely, I'm so bored with my life. And I go, we try too hard to reinvent ourselves, to have fun. I'm guilty of that. But we also have had fun in the past. Now, I don't have a horse, so I can't do that. Running is not in the game right now, trying to get back. It's a long story. But I was great in puzzles. I love to read outdoor anything kind of a stuff. So you have to turn around and look at the road you've traveled and look at some of the things you do. Um, Drives in the country, exploring gold mine. I live in an area where we had access to Gold Hill, um, uh, ghost towns, Placerville, Ione, a lot of places that you can just go for the day that get you out of where you are. And people forget about doing things like that. It's not necessarily something you can do all the time, but it's fun to plan it. A lot of people are getting back into churches now that we don't have COVID anymore. So I think that's really good. Hiking, walking, social groups of any kind, service to others. We have a lot of seniors in Oroville. That's where I'm at. Um, and the re and the reason is that we have a lot of activities. We have our lake here, a lot of outdoor camping, water activities galore, tubes, casinos. We have it all here. It's quite amazing. We're next door to Chico. And Chico is just as interesting in paradise. We're burnt down, it's all built back. So we have a lot of interesting places to go. In my area, if someone listened to me, I said, get in the car and drive somewhere. Absolutely. And we all can't do that, but then you need to figure out. So if you're working, you're really angry, take up knitting, crocheting, whatever it is that distracts your mind and put your attention on something else. Because anxiety or depression can creep in, and then you can have an anxiety attack at work, or you can get to the point of angry and lash out and lose your job. Um, some of them, there's a couple more. And I want to point out that I'm trying to mention things that don't cost a lot except for the gas to get there. I'm really somebody who watches, not want to tell people to spend money. It's not my business. If you have the fine. But learning, if you have some dollars, learning how to play the piano, buying painting supplies, bicycle, roller skates, free or low cost for all these activities. There seems to be a correlation of activities and high cost with depression and anxiety. So if you're in a high cost hobby, uh, or you want to do something, don't overspend initially. I have a tendency to want to jump in. So instead of jumping in, rent a bike. Don't buy $1,000 bike to start with. Because then if you don't pursue it 100%, at some point that will create more anxiety. Always start out free or a little cost. Okay. Um, some people like to keep journals. I know a lot of people who write journals. Oh my gosh, I have one friend client. She writes a journal of the dreams she had the night before. I mean, this woman's amazing. I barely remember my dreams. But a lot of people do journaling. A lot of people are very creative. And I gave this idea to somebody. Nancy, I don't want to talk about my life. I don't want to do. Well, you never know when it's going to be important. Write down the people you met as in a character. I met this crazy person today, or this person at work, and they irritate me. And this person that, and write down because you never know in the future if someone's going to write a book and you got all these characters for them, or if you write something just
Mhm.
don't know. And fun, it's fun to create that idea of a comic strip, and these are going to be your characters. That can be very fun. I've known people do that. Service to others and belonging to a church. Um, that's really good. Community affairs, community clean the park. I was involved with a group that restored um, um, tombstones, and I just could only do it for a little bit. It was I was the host. I was giving cemetery tours, old Sacramento City Cemetery, for 6 years. It was way fun. I was really good at it. I loved it. Didn't think I would be, but John Betancourt thought I was. And I got involved with their community outreach, trying to repair the tombstones. I thought it was wonderful. There's YouTube has people go and discover long lost cemeteries in the countryside and they go clean them up, give respect to those who've left behind. But the wonderful Hoppy, Hornbrook was a town that was very close to where I lived on Black Mountain, Hornbrook, California.
Mhm.
And there they had a cemetery that needed tending to. And over the 6, 7 years I was there, every time I went by it, someone had been taking care of it, going and cleaning it up. I thought it was wonderful. Um, the things you can spend money on if you have it is the movies, buy video games, go to theme parks, RV trips, or flying to your desired destination. Um, and those cost money. And right now, I would say we shouldn't spend a lot of money because I think that spending money is, someone said, Nancy, you want to travel, get in the RV and just leave, or to fly, do this. And I think the problem is that I have books and things I want to do. If I'm going to come back, as I'll have anxiety because I left a lot of projects. I have a lot of things going on all the time. So I want to make sure that when you do something, it's confined to an area where you are. You go outdoors, you have roller skates, you go to churches, it's in your community. Then once you tackle this and you get excited about life, then go to the community next door. You don't have to go to Disneyland, just get out of your house. I mean, for those who listen to part of Disneyland, it's great if you have the money, you can fly. um, with those ideas, of course, working to being off work is a consideration. I added that because Uh, I'm very fortunate. For 33 years, I've been doing this, and it's been out of my home. I did have offices, but a lot of it's like myself, telephone company, 24 years. I just couldn't take off. I was raising children. So, in some ways, I encourage you to start out small. And then as time goes on, if you want to take off, that's fine. Make it as early and small as that you have easy access to distracting yourself. Um, easy first thing to do is buy puzzles. You'd be surprised how wonderful it is. Um, Canasta cards. What's that thing I do on the? I have card games on the computer. Boy, instantly I put my mind to it. It's great. My husband loves hearts, and they're flying across the screen. He's jump up, up, up like this, and I think he's concentrating on the cards. If he's got anxiety, he's not suffering. Well, I talked pretty quick. I think the thrust of what I'm doing, we have no control of depression from our past. We sometimes
Mhm.
no control over anxiety. We have to learn to breathe and distract our mind. That's what this was about. I'm not an advocate for drugging us. All drugging us, and please, that's my impression. I'm not a doctor. When you drug somebody, it never goes away because you just drag it like a ball and chain behind you. You have to work on your issues. Even if it's painful, write a diary and just mouth off and get angry on paper and then have a ceremony and burn it, or not burn it, everything's burned, is put it in a box and bury it in the cupboard or throw it in the ocean or something. Do a ceremony, get rid of your anxiety because it ultimately it'll affect your health, particularly your heart. And that's been pretty well proven because anxiety, we carry it in our chest, and that pressure gets your high blood pressure and this affects all kinds of things. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that and got something from it. Let me know. All right, Char.
How can people find you?
I have a website, nancymatz.com, and my other site is nancymatzauthor.com, and my YouTube station, Nancy Matz Psychic. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, that
I
was
did
great.
good.
It was great. You had 4 minutes to spare too. That's impressive. 4 minutes to spare. That's pretty
I was,
awesome.
all right. Go ahead.
But I will be here Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, reading from Frankenstein. That may be the last read for Frankenstein. Yeah, last Sunday it kind of sounded like the book was starting to kind of wrap up. I've never read the book, so I don't know how far we have to go. But I think Sunday may be a short day. It's just maybe a short day, or like I said, we'll be continuing, into the following weekend. But it looks like it's going to wrap. I will be back in about 35 minutes on TikTok if you guys are interested. Free tarot card readings, past, present, future. Come on over there and visit us. Where you've never seen a tarot card reader like me, and it's not. Let's just say it's not boring. That's for sure. It's not just somebody reading cards. It's fun. We interact. We got a great community over there. We interact with each other. We joke with each other. We tease each other. It's just a great environment. And I make
Okay.
animal
And how
sounds.
they
If you
find
guys
you? How they find you?
go to TikTok, California Haunts. That's all you gotta do. But I do make animal sounds, but that's all. I'll leave it at there. You guys gotta come and see what that's about. I make animal sounds. I'm still trying to attempt a dolphin, but we will leave it at there. But yeah, so come on over and join us. It's a fun party atmosphere. I do it every night, and 7 p.m. Pacific. Well, between 7 p.m. and 7:15 Pacific, depending what time I get in there. But yeah, so just come on over to TikTok and look for me then. But otherwise, I'll see you guys on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, right back here for Frankenstein. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to close it out. And Nancy, it's
Good
been
night,
fun.
everybody.
We'll see
Always
Nancy next
here.
week. All right, here we
Yes.
go.